Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, can you get the template on this?
Hi, everybody. All right. First order of business. Stephanie Goley is our moderator today, even though you can't see her, and she had asked about muting. If you do not know how to mute your Zoom meeting, check the left corner of your screen and hit that mute button, and that way we don't hear you until it's time for a question.
Good.
All right. Very good. Thank you. All right, Andy, you wanna start? All right, I guess it's me. All right, so I am Kathleen Walker, Andy Shirting, and we are the race directors for C2 Summit. And we really appreciate you guys all taking some time on a Sunday evening to do our race meeting here rather than all together on next Friday. So we've got a bunch of stuff to kind of go through with you guys. Feel free to ask any questions. You can hit your chat button on the bottom and you can write a note there. Steph Goley will check those. So if you have any questions, she'll make sure that we have those so we can get those answered for you. And then you can also raise your hand. If you look over to the right side, if you hit participants, there's a little hand raised there. So raise your hand. It will do a little wave. You don't have to wave here on the screen. You'll wave it on the chat, and then Steph will let us know that that you guys are all waving.
But if you want to give us 20 minutes to kind of go through a few things and then see if your question has not been answered yet, and then we'll be able to answer it for you.
Right.
And I apologize. It looks like in the email I sent out the other day, I pasted in what I thought was the link to the athlete's guide. And if you look at the email, it is the link to the athlete's guide if you copied it and pasted it into a browser. But for some reason, the underlying code got corrupted and it wound up not linking to that guide. So take a look at that email. You can look at the address to the athlete's guide. You can just put your cursor over it, copy it, paste it into a browser, press return. You should be able to read the athlete's guide. All the information in gray or in black is basically the same information that we pass on every year, but we do have a dark purple color. That is all new stuff. And that new stuff has been adjusted over the last week or so. Kathleen and I spent 3 days up at the start, course, finish, and actually we weren't on the top of Tuckerman's, but we were talking to the Rangers up there. So we have some new information to share tonight, but it's going to be an unusual year, and we realize that. We hope that you understand that and will kind of bear with some of the bumps and curves that we come across as we work on this. And one of the most important things I think Kathleen and I want to talk about is health and the precautions we're taking, but also we are going to really bend the rules this year. Come a day or two before the race, you and your porter or a family member, forget about coming up positive on a COVID test, just doesn't feel well. We'd rather you not come. We'll just put you into next year's race. We really want everybody to be safe, and we'll be fine. So normally for a race director to have people drop out at the last minute creates all sorts of problems. We'll be fine. But Kathleen.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I was going to do the COVID stuff. So
sorry.
let me tell you. So I will get to you a little list questionnaire, those typical COVID questions that you're getting every time that you go somewhere. Do you have a fever, all those sorts of things. I'm going to get that to you earlier as a reminder. So if Friday morning you look at that and say, you know what, I just came in contact with somebody else that tested positive, or I didn't smell my coffee this morning. What's up with that? Stop. Don't come. Give us a call, let us know, or send me an email, and we'll defer you to next year. So it's not a big deal to be able to defer you, as Andy said. We just want to make sure that all of us are safe. Are safe. So you'll have that questionnaire. We'll ask you on Friday or Saturday. We will also take your temperature with one of those little nifty temperature things that we can do without getting too close to you. Very excited to use that. So, you know, we want to make sure that everybody's safe. For us, you know, should say for your safety, we will be wearing masks. If we're touching things that you're touching, we'll have gloves on. We're going to try to keep our distance from everybody. Porters, you will be in one section. This is mostly for the swim. You guys are going to be in one section. The athletes are going to be in another section. Mostly because athletes going into the water are clearly not wearing masks. So, so we will keep everybody separate. So, you know, you'll say, okay, good luck. Thank you. You know, bye. And the athlete will go down to the water and the porter will have 2 different locations that they can be at. And so that way we can keep everybody safe. Masks are expected to be worn by porters or any visitors at all times. For athletes, not when, obviously not when you're swimming. And you need to have it with you when you're running or you're on the bike. So you can wear a gaiter or something like that. You can just pull up. Andy and I were biking yesterday and came across some guy that had a seizure. And so it's like, oh, shoot, mask up, you know? So, so you never know when something's going to happen. Maybe it's you or maybe it's somebody else that you come across, whatever it is. Make sure you've got that with you, please. Porter waivers. I was saying that I'm going to email you guys. First of all, am I talking too fast? You nod your head, yes or no. You guys are good? Good.
We're good.
All right.
And it wasn't mask up and then we kept going. We stopped and assisted
Yes,
the person having a seizure.
Of course, we helped. So thank you for clarifying. Email. I was saying I'm going to send out that questionnaire to you guys. It's for you and your porter and anybody else that you're bringing with you. I'm also putting the porter waiver in there. It's really short, but I do want basic information. If something were to happen to, you know, to one of you guys, you got a car accident, something like that, and we wanted or needed to contact somebody else for you, we want to be able to have that information right at our ready. So I'm going to also send in the athlete email a porter. It's a waiver. It's for the porter. So porters, if you will sign that, you can either get it back to me via email, or you can bring it with you and we'll file those and we keep those with us. Speaking of bringing things with you, so Friday, you guys are going to come, you'll get your swag. We've got some nice t-shirts for you, some other swag. We'll take your temperature. We'll ask you all these questions. And then you guys will have a chance to go down, see the water, see where that swim's going to take place, ask questions. We have an athlete that, a wonderful athlete, actually. He came in third just a couple of years ago, so he's very familiar with the course. He's there to answer your questions. I'm there. Andy's there. Steph Goley will be there on Saturday.
And his porter, the person who was his porter, will be there to answer porter's questions.
Right. So we got you covered. So Saturday, if you are not coming up Friday between 4 and 6, then you'll pick up your packet and you'll do all of that on Saturday morning. So that's fine. That is something different for us. Normally everyone has to be there Friday night. In this case, it will spread you guys out a little bit more. Some can come on Friday, some come Saturday. We'll be good. All right, I'm going to pass it on to Andy.
Got one more.
Oh, wait, I got one more thing. What was that? Email, photo. Oh, yes. If anybody has not taken a picture of their bike and emailed it to katie@kneeevents.com, please do that. We would like to have all of those, all of the pictures of your beautiful bikes by Tuesday. If you don't, Katie will start hounding you, and it's not pretty. So please get the email to Katie. It's katie@kneeevents.com. It's all over Andy's emails he's been sending you. Make sure we have a picture. We are not doing bibs, bike numbers or bibs. You'll get a bib, but it will be for your keepsake. So with the bike numbers, we've got all these beautiful pictures of your bikes. So that will help us with drafting and things like that, making sure the race is safe for everybody. All right.
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
So you can think about 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Friday, packet pickup. 4 a.m. Saturday is really the earliest we'd like to see you arrive at the site. The address is at in the athlete's guide. We've got an interesting situation this year. as does any race that's going to try to happen. In that we have a small group. We deliberately reduce the number of our athletes in half, and that's so we could fit under the gathering cap for the state of Maine. So we have 50 athletes. We also have 50 porters. That's the reason why we're having multiple gatherings, basically on these large 70-acre grounds of the Spring Hill Lodge. It is at the edge of a residential area. We know that a lot of people don't know the difference between a triathlon and a 3,000 person political rally. And any event is, oh no, what's happening? And even people who know triathlon don't realize the difference between a 2,000 person Ironman and what we're doing with 50 participants, as far as how we have the ability to social distance. Obviously, gosh, you guys are going to come in on average about 4 or 5 minutes apart at the finish line. So you will see people out there, but you're not going to see a lot of people out there. And that's one of the appeals of this race. So please be quiet, I guess was my long wind up there. When you approach the start area, just so the police aren't getting phone calls from residents. It's one of the reasons we're not asking you to wear bibs this year is it came out of the rangers on the mountains. The ranger for New Hampshire, I think, was the one who said to us, you know, what if they don't have bibs and then we don't get all these phone calls or people coming up to the top of the mountain saying, did you know there's a race going on? So they've given us the okay, but they prefer not to deal with the hassles. And I also went through this with the sheriff for Carroll County, New Hampshire, and we talked it through. No numbers on the bib. However, we would, or on the bike, we would like to have a photo of each person and their bike. It's important to us from safety reasons and also to be able to officiate the race. Unfortunately, if we do not receive a photo of the bike, we probably will have to assess a time penalty. Anyways, let's start sharing the screen here a little bit. We're going to show you the, all right, Steph, do you mind getting my screen sharing going?
You should be able to share the screen.
Yeah, it says you disabled it.
Oh.
Or do you want to make me the host for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go, because it wouldn't let me just let you share screen for some reason.
Go ahead.
So we got the screen sharing?
Yep. Back down.
Okay.
Do you see it there, Andy? Oh, there you go.
All right. Let's start with, I can get this moved over. All right, here's the overview of the Spring Hill. This is Pond Road. I don't know if you see my cursor, Pond Road.
Yeah.
Big parking lot. People who have done Pumpkin Man are very familiar with this. We are all going to park in the parking lot starting at 4 a.m. This far edge of the parking lot is please don't park there. We'll have it coned off anyway. We need room. We've always brought bike racks to this event. We're not going to do that this year. That's also part of the trying to keep a low profile. We're going to do like the good old days of triathlon. You can have your bike on the side of your car. You can have it at the back of your car. Porters will not be able to zip out of the parking area right away. We're going to do that very carefully and with staff guiding us through, so you don't have to worry about getting hit in the parking lot. The swim start is down where my cursor is showing in here. And this is a hill. The mowing is going to be done early this week. It's a beautiful location. I think you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, wait. Here, while you're on that same screen.
Mm.
So, so porters, it looks like we might have some porters that are here.
I have a detail shot.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got 2 places for porters. I want to make sure you guys are going to know where you are.
All right, so we're going to go to the detail now.
All right. Oh, very nice.
All right, so you will be able to warm up swim beforehand. It will be a triangular going counterclockwise. I did not map it out, but it'll be pretty self-evident. There's only going to be 3 buoys. It's 2 laps. And we will have, in addition to the 3 orange buoys, we'll have 2 yellow buoys, which basically are just to kind of keep you out of the weeds, to be honest. The section A is for triathletes. Section B is for porters at the beginning of the race. That's actually a hilltop that has a setup for weddings that are held there. It's very pretty with the pond in the background. Once the athletes are all underway, the porters will be able to go down to C. You can get a good view of much of the course from B, but from C, we want family members and porters to be part of this and get to see what's happening. Then we will ask everyone to get back up to B. And the athletes will come out of A, and they're going to run up a path that's going to be mowed, that's going to go up to this end of the parking lot. And away we go. We're going to do the swim in a time trial start, 2 athletes at a time. It's wide enough that those 2 athletes, they'll be parallel to each other at the water's edge. They will not be close to each other. And it will be a bit before they get to the first buoy, so it's not as if they're going to run into each other. And those starts will be 30 seconds apart.
Right. So we'll make sure that all of your athletes, 2 at a time, but you're going to be 6 feet apart from each other and then 6 feet from the person behind you. So we'll kind of snake you guys around so that way everyone can get in the water. All of the swim start should take 15 minutes by the time we get everybody in. And then porters will be able to move around a little bit while you guys are in the water. So that way they're ready for the next time when you come out and ready to go on your bikes. So as Andy said, porters will not be allowed to drive anywhere until everybody is on their bikes and out of the swim.
Well, we may, if there's some significant gaps between the swimmers coming in, we may be able to allow porters for some of the faster triathletes to get a jump start. That's usually what we've done.
Okay, we'll work that out.
Kathleen's been on the water lifeguarding, so she doesn't know what little tricks we pull while the race is going. If you and your entourage, whether it be just you and a porter or you and a family, are residents of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, not yet Massachusetts. We're hoping that the governor will make an announcement this week, but not yet Massachusetts. If you're residents of those states, you pretty much have carte blanche to do anything you want. If you are not, and if you have not had a COVID test taken within 72 hours of the start of this race, there are certain restrictions you're going to have to follow here. What we're basically doing is you're arriving at this site at the Spring Hill Recreation Center. It's a private site. In effect, you are entering Maine and you are quarantining here with the rest of us. When you leave, you're leaving the state, and it's not very long before you hit Rochester and you're out of the state. So same thing goes with your porter and your family members. When they leave, they can't go to a convenience store or a gas station and go buy something. We want to follow the rules as Maine has them. So for that short distance until you're out of Maine, just have everybody stay in their car and leave Maine.
That sounds very ominous. So it's a small stretch between Spring Hill and the New Hampshire border, and so we're following Maine regulations. Don't go to the convenience store or whatever else. Just get out of Maine and follow your athlete on the bike, because that's where the athlete's going, is New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So
you
stay with them.
Yeah, you've come to Spring Hill as a private place and you're leaving, but you're not mixing with the general population. So let's talk a little bit about the bike ride. We rode it. We only saw one stretch that I would say a bit bumpy. If you're on the aero bars, you may want to shorten up. And that is Rochester Street. It's kind of rough for several miles as soon as you get onto Rochester Street, or soon after you get onto that. That starts in the town of Berwick. So when you go through the town of Berwick and then you start heading out toward New Hampshire, actually towards Rochester, that street's a bit on the bumpy side. I had put in as you know, we do not have an official route. And the race hasn't for 30 years. And back in the beginning, it was kind of easy. Everybody just picked their best way that they thought they could get to the bike finish. A restriction was put in as Route 16 became higher and higher speed, and so there is no bike riding on Route 16 below North Conway. Several sharp-eyed people have noticed that maybe it might be faster for them to leave the transition area and head up on Route 4 going north. Kathleen and I wondered about that as well. We drove it, and it's a 2-lane road, and unfortunately there are good stretches of it where the posted speed limit is 55. You know what that means. Cars are going 65, so we have to say no bikes on Route 4 heading north. That's going to leave many people going on the traditional route, and we have put it in the athlete's guide if you want to take a look at it. We did make an alteration to it just a few days ago after driving the course. When you come out of Pond Street, which is where this is, and you know what? I was going to call up Google Maps, and you think I could do that fast enough?
No, I
to
don't
get it?
think so.
All right. You are going to come to Route 4. You're going to make a left turn. Normally, you would go down to South Berwick and then make a right turn and get on that 236. And we found a lovely ride, which for some reason the GPS is not going to tell you faster, but it must only be by 50 yards or something. And it's called Blackberry Hill Road. And it is going by farms. It's flat. It is very quiet, and
Sorry, go ahead.
you're playing
Keep
with
talking.
my computer.
Sorry, I'm playing with Andy's computer. Can you guys see us and not his screen?
Well,
It's still on screen share.
That's what
It's
I
still
thought. That's what I was going to do.
All right, so let me just see if I've got the run here. T2. Oh, we could show you a couple of things. This is Spring Hill. There's the water. This is the path heading up from the water. This is where the porters are going to watch the race, at least the beginning and the end of the swim. Here's the parking lot.
So that's the view the porters have of the parking lot. So you can see that you guys can see your athletes going through.
Okay. On the bike, I guess I can turn
All right,
off
so go off screen share.
screen share.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go. There. All right.
There are 5 railroad crossings on the bike. And if you're not, I think all of you as long distance triathletes know you got to hit those things perpendicular. And some of the railroad crossings are a little bit of an angle. So my suggestion is slow down and hit them perpendicular and play it safe. And if it's rainy, I get off the bike, but just letting that go. We had an unusual situation last year in that we had much more drafting by the athletes than we have had in the past. Who knows why? But I think we gave out 17 time penalties and one disqualification. So be aware, we've got something like 8 vehicles with our staff members in it, and our staff members are all triathletes, and some of them have official training for officiating. So if we see it, we're going to call it. I think most of you, if not all of you, will say, "Oh, that's great." You're eventually going to get to North Conway, and then climb a nice little hill up to Wildcat. Porters, we're asking that you do not leave North Conway. I mean, there's places in North Conway where you can watch your athlete go by, and some of them are listed in the athlete's guide. Don't head for Wildcat until you get past Storyland.
Till the athlete gets past.
Till the athlete gets past Storyland. That children's amusement park in the northern edges of North Conway. Then sure, go ahead and head up there. We just don't want to have too big of a crowd at Wildcat. And that's still, Wildcat has,
Right.
We thought we were going to have a small parking lot at Wildcat because they are doing some road construction and putting in a septic system and et cetera, et cetera. It turns out they've postponed that. So I think we'll get plenty of room.
Right. So we'll have plenty of
But-
room, but we just don't want, 50 cars all in the parking lot at one time. That makes it very confusing for everybody. But speaking of that, if I can jump in, porters, once your athlete goes by Storyland or somewhere close to that, and you head up to Wildcat, then you'll want to bring your athlete's backpack to me and staff. Excuse me. That's just a dry throat. Don't worry. You're going to bring the backpack to us, and we're going to do a spot check just to make sure that your athlete has everything that they need. So you'll have plenty of time. You'll just want to do that before your athlete actually comes in the parking lot. And then when the athlete comes in, they'll check in, and we'll ask them a few questions, and then they can go. But we just want to be able to see that backpack beforehand.
Yeah. And unless you're our fastest athlete out there, you're going to see as you approach Wildcat some of your fellow competitors running towards you as they work their way down to Pinkham Notch, and then they will safely go across the street, across the highway, and look for the signs for Tuckerman's Trail if they haven't pre-scouted it, which I hope they have. Tuckerman's is open. It just opened up like a week ago. It's the latest Tuckerman's has ever had so much snow. So we're happy about that. We're glad the race was moved a couple of years ago because it used to be late June, and here we are in late July. So there's signs at the bottom of Tuckerman's to get on Tuckerman's. There's signs at every intersection on the trail. You should be fine. Don't take another trail, please. The finish line is shortly after cresting the head wall. For those who are familiar with Mount Washington, it's called Five Fingers. It's where a number of trails intersect. So it's not right at the top of the head wall. You're going to have to scramble a little bit more once you get up there. And you'll see 3 of us there, myself, Dawn, and Jeff, who's our timer for the event. We'll have a banner there. Likewise, there'll be a banner at Wildcat just to help help you. We've had some athletes who are in such a zone as they're climbing that mountain, they just go right by Wildcat and we have to chase them. So look for the banners. Getting back down the mountain, your choice. If you want to, it's still a half a mile to the summit, and it's a half a mile of some hands and feet climbing. And if you want to just turn around and descend and get to Hermit Lake and take your time, that's fine, and work your way down from there. But I know a lot of you are going to want to get to the top and touch the top, even if it's not the official time that you finished the race. So you can certainly do that. Just tell family members or your porter if they think they want to go to the finish line that it is it's not for someone who's thinking they're going to walk casually down a path, and that's what their ability to do is.
We speak
Yeah.
about that. So in years past, sometimes the porters want to go up with the athletes, which is great as long as you have a backpack that has all the same stuff in it. But some people, they go up with their athlete and they think they're going to take the van back down. There's no vans right now. So there's no vans and there's no food concessions
Yep.
at the top. So normally one of our kids is a volunteer at this race, and he runs up the top and then he eats pizza when he gets up there. That's just what he does. That's what he expects. There's no pizza. So so make sure that porters, you have some extra food for your athlete. If your athlete's going all the way to the summit and then you're going to drive back down, that's fantastic. But have some extra food in the car for them and for yourself, because you're up there for quite some time and you're going to get really hungry. And drink and so forth. So, so just keep that in mind. It's a little different than it was in years past. Back to you.
Okay. We have time or time checks at each stop, especially at Wildcat and especially at Hermit Lake Lodge, halfway up the mountain, and then once again at the top of the mountain. Please respect our time restrictions. We have 7 or 8 people on the mountain. I do not want them trying to find their way back down in the dark. So even though I'm worried about your safety, I'm really worried about our staff's safety out there. So if you're told your race is over, please, your race is over. And we did have to disqualify someone last year who ignored our staff and still went to the top of the mountain where there was nobody but the last ranger, who was just locking things up, and he got a ride down with that ranger. Very nice of him. But
Right.
we don't want to go through that again.
We don't. And his saintly porter was, was so worried about him, as you can imagine. So don't put anybody in that kind of position. Okay.
And his saintly porter is one of our workers on the mountain this year.
Right.
We don't want
right.
him to go through that.
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't at all. So we all keep that in mind. Okay. I know there's a bunch of questions that have come up. Sorry, Andy, are you,
Okay.
are you in a position to talk about? So I think we've talked about Route 4. Paul, you had that question. Route 4 at 55 miles an hour is just not safe for you guys. So we don't want to take the chance with you. So you're welcome. Thank you, Steve. There was a question about the swim start. Yes, I will create the swim start list, and I will get that to you. And if you guys don't mind waiting an extra day to be able to get the waiver and all of that, I will put that in an email to you. When I send that email with the waiver and the questions, I'll do the swim start. And so you'll know when you're starting, and you'll also have your bib number in that case. So hopefully that takes care of you there. You will not exit the water for that second swim lap. There will not be mats down in the water.
I was in the water to get the water quality test the other day, and I didn't see a need for mats. We do have them. We could bring them. we know the Pumpkin Man had mats, but I walked out there and it seemed pretty sandy, or maybe there would be some leaves, but
Right. There was a few
wasn't
little
anything.
rocks that we saw, but it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. If any of you guys have done Falmouth Triathlon with us, it's nothing like that. There's lots of rocks in that one, not as many this time. Ice and,
We will post a swim starting list ahead of time.
so
Yes.
that's what I will email it to you guys when I send you those lists. Go ahead. You see
There's a
anything else?
question, Kathleen, about do you want a picture of the bike or the athlete standing next to the bike? And if you want the athlete, do you want them to wear the helmets?
Just your bike.
Bike is fine. Yeah, we'll have enough that we'll be able to piece things together. We were surprised what we did last year off of the video that we took on the course in terms of taking care of some issues. There were a number of competitors from a certain country that is not able to participate this year because of restrictions on athletes entering the United States that were pretty much responsible for much of the drafting.
Because
So,
they allow drafting there. We don't allow drafting here. So, okay. So other questions?
Are there cutoff times adjusted? Are the cutoff times adjusting for the time trial start?
No, they're not, because the cutoffs are based on the 1.5 mile swim that we normally have. So those that are getting in the water first, yes, there's a small advantage there, but really you guys are going to have no problem with that. So,
well, we figure that the time trial start will use up 13 minutes. So, I'm okay with adding 13 minutes to it.
okay, there we go. All right, done. Steph, you're going to ask the questions instead of us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is there any ice or snow on the last half mile to the top?
No, we did not do it ourselves. Actually, it would not be definitely in the last half mile. The question would really be more in that area where the skiers ski in the spring, and we've been told there is none anymore.
Right, as of like Tuesday, they still had the sign up at the entrance to Tuckerman's, saying that the last one little section was still closed, but we had confirmation that is no longer the case. So you guys are snow free.
Yep.
Is there an auto road pass included, or do the porters need to purchase that separately?
You need to purchase that yourself.
What is the water temp? Is it wetsuit legal?
The water temp was 77 degrees. We just made it by 1 degree. So yeah, we're good as of right now, and I would like to hold to that unless there is quite a warm up.
Is chip time at the swim start?
At the swim start, we're going to have the start list ahead of time, so we're going to know each person, and we are going to. You will not be wearing chips. We will have staff at the swim exit to get your number. It's always good to remember your number. And if you don't remember your number, you yell out your name. And then at Wildcat, it's a lot easier because as you come in, we identify you. It's nice to have porters always help us when they say, "Oh, here comes my Betty," and give us her name, and we'll have her into the system.
Right.
We are using an electronic system with a paper backup, but the race has never been chip timed.
Right, this is pretty old school. All right, next question.
Do all riders take West Side Road out of Conway to avoid Route 16?
That sounds right, but I don't have the map.
Yeah, they do. I'm mostly worried about 16 south of the point where riders when riders reach it in Conway. But I don't think you want to take 16 through town. It's just too much traffic, too many people turning in, turning out of all the stores and the malls, and too many lights and too much trying to squeeze by. Everybody takes the West Side Road. It's faster.
Okay, we answered the question about wetsuits. They are legal. As Steve says, I have a bike tail light. Do I need to put the one you provide as well?
No, you don't if you have one that you're comfortable that you've got the batteries charged. Especially
Okay.
those who have the Garmin ones where you can see what's going on behind you and everything else. We understand that. But we would like everyone to have at least a light. Take the light that we give you and give it. Our grandchildren are riding around this weekend with their blinky lights on the back of their lights. And so you can find someone I'm sure you can give it to.
Okay, so Steph, before you have to read all of the, I can see Lauren asked about 5 questions. So let me just knock those out, or we will just knock those out. Spectators allowed to have food and water or only support from porters, whatever it is that you need to do, as long as you're not doing the race for your athlete, food, water, an extra wheel. I mean, whatever it is, that's the idea. You are a part of this race in that way. Race staff direct you to Wildcat. When you're at Wildcat and you get off your bike and you're ready to run, we're gonna say, make a left. Then you'll find Pinkham Notch down on the right. By this time, you guys should know that, all right? This is not an Ironman. We don't do it for you. You need to actually know what the route is. So if you don't know it now, I would say, pull out your maps and take a look. Do we want a picture of our back of the back of the bike? That's great. How about the side and and your backup
bike?
Yes. Whatever bikes that you have.
No, we don't need.
You don't want both bikes?
All right.
I think we need both.
Some athletes switch bikes during the race, and we'd like to have photos of both bikes. And on the first question, I think it was, she might have been asking, is it okay if a spectator, say like a family member, gives her food or water? Or can she only accept something from the porter?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yes, you can accept from various sources. And the only thing we ask is do not ever, from a moving car, pass anything to a racer.
Right. Safety first.
Okay.
All right. Wait. We had more of those.
Snow.
So snow. So the Scott Brown, who is lovely Scott Brown, is with us today, and Scott came in third, 2018. So he knows this mountain well, and he says there are little bits of snow on tucks, some down in the ravine, but it's not a big deal. So when asked about crampons, I don't think that that's going to be necessary. No. All right. How much does it cost for porters to drive up the auto road? I am not sure. You're going to have to go to the auto road, Mount Washington.
It's $35 for car and driver, and adult passengers are $10. I just looked it up.
Thanks, Steph.
Okay.
All right. Restrictions getting passes on auto road? I'm not sure what you mean by restrictions, Doug.
The auto road is open, and the only bad weather can change things. Bad weather can close the auto road. Fog can close the auto road. It will also have an impact on our race. There have been years when the run of our race has been to get up to Hermit Lodge and get back down to Wildcat, and the finish has been at Wildcat. We just roll with the punches. Same thing with thunderstorms. That's probably our biggest fear. You don't want to be an exposed mountain in a thunderstorm. And the same thing goes for the swim. We've had the swim canceled because of threats of thunderstorms in the past. Please know that we're watching everything closely and we'll make decisions that are not ridiculous, but we're keeping your safety in mind.
And to add on to that, there are vehicle restrictions, and there's a list on the Washington.com website. Certain vehicles are not allowed, so it's kind of a complicated list, so just look at it. But other than that, it doesn't look like there's any COVID restrictions other than what we already know.
Right. Yeah. And then the question about the hiking up the bowl or around.
You're following the Tuckerman's Trail. When you do get past, when you start getting into the tough climbing, you're going to see spray painted red arrows that I suppose it's AMC has spray painted onto the rocks. When you get to the top or the top of the head wall, you'll see what are called cairns. They're rocks. Perhaps if you've seen photos from Mount Everest or something like that, you'll see a rock pile done almost like a pyramid. And those cairns are actually a way to find your way through a trail where there doesn't look like there really is a trail. For much of Mount Washington, a trail is a bunch of boulders that are not as big as all the rest of the boulders on the mountain. So, keep in mind, it's a lot of what I'll call scrambling.
Well, up towards the top. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have good balance, so for me, it's quite a predicament.
Okay. Next question is cell phones on the bike. Yes, please take your cell phone on the bike. Be mindful though that there's a lot of places where reception is just terrible. So you guys kind of be aware, porters be aware of where your athlete is. If your athlete doesn't show up at your designated meet-up spot along the route, and that he's not there for a while or she's not there for a while, backtrack a little bit and make sure that that your athlete's okay, because they might not be able to actually call you if they're in one of those dead spots, or you might be in the dead spot.
Yeah. Oh, porta potty question.
Yep.
There are porta potties at the swim start at Spring Hill. There are porta potties at Wildcat. The restroom facilities at Pinkham are open. The restroom facilities at Hermit Lake are open, and those at the summit of the mountain are open. Purchasing a Mount Washington Car Pass, you can buy them in advance online, and I think there's a discount. If you don't buy it in advance online, look in the hotel where you're staying. They blanket the state with discount coupons.
Yeah. And a stop sign. What do you consider a stop at a stop sign? Foot down on ground? Yeah, I mean, this is your safety. Please stop at stop signs. We shouldn't even have to tell you about that. I mean, that's where we're not going to be right there monitoring you, but you need to stop.
Well,
You need to stop at a stop sign. All rules of the road.
All right. But the penalties we enforce are for typical triathlon penalties, drafting, blocking,
Right,
that sort of thing.
right. Other things, yeah. Okay. All right.
Limit of people.
So Doug, please don't bring anyone you don't have to. So we like to keep the numbers down since we have this limit in Maine. We're already kind of splitting up our gathering to the porters gathering and the athlete gathering so we can meet that 50-person deal. So if grandma really doesn't have to come, please don't bring her, or anybody else for that matter. All right, anything else?
Does anyone want to raise their hand? Steph, do you see anything else in the
No.
chat?
No, I think everything, bathrooms at the start. Can porters stop on the side of the road in Maine to render support, like handing over food?
This year, we're asking that the porters get out of town and just get to New Hampshire. It's not that far. I mean, I can understand a porter wanting to stay in Maine while their athlete is in Maine. You can't ride alongside your athlete, but you certainly could stop and park in a parking lot. But I just think it would be better, unless you're one of those people who has the green pass from the state, in that they're from that state of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. You can do anything you want. The rest of us, I think we're going to Spring Hill Lodge and we are leaving. And maybe you make a stop at a parking lot or on the side of the road as you leave. But it's a relatively short period of time. You're starting in South Berwick. You're going up the road to Berwick. I think most of you. And shortly after that, you're crossing the river, the Salmon Falls River, and you're in New Hampshire. So
yeah, it's super quick. It really isn't that long. So all right, anyone have any other questions?
Did you guys answer the question about bathrooms at the start?
We did. So there'll
Okay.
be porta potties at the start at Wildcat. And then Pinkham Notch has several bathrooms, as does Hermit Lake and the Summit.
Yeah, I mean, I think my concluding word on this, and if anybody has any questions, please pop them in, is that in some ways it would have been really easy for us to just say, because all of our other races have been canceled and possibly very likely our September race
Well, I mean,
canceled,
it just
is that,
says,
is that we were going to
it
just,
says the
why don't we just cancel this as
New
well?
Hampshire State
We'll
Park
just-
building and the observatory are
We'll
not
just
open.
take the year off and then start up
But
next
maybe
year.
there's like a separate area where there are bathrooms. So I don't
And
know.
then the all
Doug,
is
could you mute yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We were just checking into the Summit bathroom accessibility, and we saw that the buildings are not open at this time, but they're trying to work out something with the Cog Railroad company to provide some temporary restrooms. We don't know how old that post is, but we think it's fairly current. So I'm not sure if you checked into that or not.
Yeah,
There-
our understanding was that the Summit bathrooms are open. Does somebody have something
Yeah, I
different?
talked to
There's
Ms. Hampshire.
portable restrooms. It says on the website modifications, there are portable toilets available at the Summit. So I
Okay.
think the inside bathrooms are not available, but at least this says there's portable toilets.
Okay.
at the
Oh, well,
Summit.
thanks for helping clear that up, because I did talk to the chief ranger at the top earlier this week, and I double checked with him on that. He says, yeah, there's bathrooms. He didn't tell me what kind. So, all right. Yes, we have that. So anyways, where I was going with that was just, we considered canceling the race. This is not going to be a banner year for our company or even for this race, but we love it and our staff loves it. And so we can't wait to see you all come Friday or Saturday morning. And we'll have a good little race, and it'll be enjoyable, and you guys will have at least one triathlon for the year of 2020.
One more thing, just to clarify, someone asked for the porter, just to clarify, they drive to the top for pickup.
Yes, the porter, the only way for your athlete to get off the mountain, if the athlete is summiting, is for you to pick them up. So don't leave your athlete on the summit.
We've had all sorts of combinations. Sometimes a porter will go with the athlete up the mountain, and a family member or a friend will pick them up at the top. And in this case, being that you're not quite getting to the top, some people might just say, you know what, I'm going to take a nice stroll back down. Although I
Well,
suppose
nice strolls.
the head wall's quite not a nice stroll, but that's up to you.
Yep. All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys all taking some time to talk with us. If there's any other questions, I'll be emailing you in the next couple of days with your start list.
Oh.
That waiver.
Yeah.
And almost done. And something else. The waiver and the questions. There we go. And the COVID questions. So if you have any other questions, I know I've talked to many of you guys via email, some phone calls. Andy's talked to a bunch of you. So, we're here for you. Feel free to ask a question, but please look at the athlete guide before you ask the question. It just helps all around. It's good for you guys to know that stuff.
Scott, did we miss anything? Steph, let Scott in.
Scott, yeah.
Oh,
No,
I'm-
she did. She was. No, I mean, the one thing I would encourage everybody is it's a special race, and one of I think the most unique things of it is the fact that unlike other long course races where you're out alone for a long period of time, the nice thing about this race is porters are everywhere on this race course, and I think it's really great if porters cheer for all the athletes that are going by, and it's such a really unique and fun race because it is, even when it's only 50 racers instead of 200 racers, it's a small, intimate, really fun race. So be safe. I know some people are disappointed about not using Route 4. I think 286 up to Rochester is a fantastic road, and I'm not sure that the Route 4 route, which I explored before, really helps, especially given the traffic issues on it. So I think the traditional route and even the Blueberry Hill sort of modification that you put out is a really good
Yeah, soak it in. We've had It may be a little different this year because of distancing, but we've had like families of different racers become close friends. We've had racers that met, 7 years ago doing this race who now do Ironman races or other races together as buddies. It's
It's a real sense
yeah.
of community, and I think that you guys will all see that, athletes and porters alike. And that's one of the things that we absolutely love about this race, is that it's just such a great bonding experience for everybody. And I think particularly this year, we're going to see that even more so. So we're really looking forward to seeing you guys next weekend. In the meantime, have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you on Friday or Saturday.
Can
I say one thing?
Different athlete. Yes, a porter can assist a different athlete. We're not, no issues with that.
Thank you.
Great, Doug.
If someone's in trouble, we all want someone to help
Right.
it out.
Help somebody else.
So
Doug, did you have a question?
I want to thank you too for persevering through this year's difficulties. And I think that's the theme of this race is perseverance.
Yeah.
All these athletes have chosen not to defer, but to go through the race, and you made that possible. Thank you very much on behalf of all of us. You had to do a lot of adjustments, a lot of changes. We're going to appreciate this. And that's the thing we're going to remember. This is a year of a special race. Looking forward to it. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, thank you. All right.
All right, you guys.
So you guys are all deep into your tapers, I hope, and rest easy this week and try not to get too stir crazy as you prep for Saturday.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.